for those that can't be here. He says.
Hey, it's Seth.
Hello!
Wow, there's more than one of you here.
There is more than one of us. Thank you so much for joining us, Seth. How's things in New York?
It's a pleasure. What a handsome group you have, and smart too.
Thank you so much. Rebel Book Club, give Seth a wave. Cool. We are out here in force this evening in London. We're at Airbnb's headquarters. Thank you to Airbnb for hosting us this evening. Firstly, thank you so much for working with us. I think I speak for everyone when I say we've all loved the book. Yeah. And yeah, it's a real honour to have you here. I know you're particularly picky about who you spend your time with, so it's a real honour that you've given us some of yours this evening, albeit digitally. And I guess to give you a quick overview of Rebel Book Club, every month we read what we consider to be a forward-thinking non-fiction book. We host a meet-up in a really cool space, and we also create a custom cocktail based on that book.
Okay.
Exactly. So I thought it'd be cool for our resident cocktail whiz, Rich, to step up and just give you a quick insight, and everyone else here who's not heard the pitch from Rich.
Okay. Hi, Seth.
Hey,
I don't know. I can't work out the old.
Top right, you can see yourself.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. First of all, Seth, thank you for your book. I really, really love this book. I finished it yesterday, as well as your podcast with Tim Ferriss. What I loved about it is I've been having a bit of a dilemma with my company, which is a cocktail events company. Up to this point, we're taking on someone new, so I've got another employee now, and I was thinking, okay, I'm not getting enough gigs, so I've got to lower my prices, which is the natural thing. But then when I read your book, I was like, okay, so what do we actually stand for? And it is about these incredible bespoke but high-end cocktails for events. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to lower my prices. I'm going to stick with what I know and hone in on who my customer base actually is. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
In that regard, I designed a cocktail called Love Excellence as a local. The reason for that being my 3 pillars, which from reading your book, I got were love and kindness to all my clients. Excellent cocktails will change your life. And support the feeling of being a local.
Yeah.
That creating that atmosphere and that feeling and that taste of being a local. So we have a local Devon beautiful gin in here. We have a beautiful honey eucalyptus and rose cordial from this cordial company in Liverpool, who create colourless cordials because it means cocktail bartenders can control the colour of their drink.
Right.
I've got a young vermouth, which is a white wine and vermouth blend.
I thought you were just supposed to wave the vermouth over the bottle. That's what they say.
No. It's you can stick it in there. It's beautiful to mix with. Then I've got a blend of lemon and lime juice because you get depth from lime juice and then brightness from lemon. So that's the cocktail. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hands up if you've tried the cocktail. Okay, cheers. If you've not, cheers everyone. We've got a few spares around there as well. So Seth, I'm going to dive in with a couple of quick questions then. I think we're just going to open it up to the room.
Fantastic.
Let us know if you can't hear it. This seems like the best quality Skype ever, right? I'd just like to say thanks to Airbnb. We thought we'd pick a really big tech company for tonight just to make sure everything was seamless.
Whoa. It's my fault that it's a good connection. Don't.
Seth, it works both ways.
Okay.
So my first question is one, kind of welcome back. It's good to have you back. How has the book been received, and have you marketed this one differently to the previous success stories?
How's it been received? Well, the accountants in the room will be glad to know it was the #1 best-selling nonfiction book on the Wall Street Journal list, and made the Times list, and they sold all they had, and Amazon got broken, and they had to turn off orders. So that was all good from my publisher's point of view. I'm not interested in any of those things. For me, it's when I hear about somebody who has a cocktail business and was about to go one way and saw something that's going to go another way. When I encounter people who realize it's not about business at all, it's about how we comport ourselves and what it means to make something better. So those sorts of interactions have been thrilling. In terms of how I marketed it, we begin with, I don't need to find readers for my books. I try to create books for my readers. And that's been the principle I've had for 25 years of writing, and it makes everything better. So you start there. And then on top of it, we added two things this time. One is I did more than 50 podcasts over the course of 4 months that all came out in the same week. And it's not clear to me that that was a good idea.
Seth, all you need is Rebel Book Club.
It was very difficult. I think what's happened is the people who listen to podcasts listen to podcasts, but it doesn't usually translate into then they go buy a book. And so I was thrilled to be on the podcast, and I love doing podcasts, but I shouldn't do them to sell books because it doesn't really work. And then the second thing we did was we made a collectible edition where you got 8 books and 8 covers. You made 19 different covers, each with a different person profiled on the cover. And you got 8 of the 19 randomly, so it's like baseball cards or cricket cards. Does it have cricket cards? Maybe they don't have cricket cards. Anyway, that was super because my core group, 1,000 plus people, got this thing that they could share. And my thesis of books, which is close to my thesis of marketing, is you need to make it so that it's beneficial to you to share it. And I want to answer your questions today. That's why I'm here. But if we run out of questions, let's talk about the cocktails business because I have some thoughts. So,
I'm sure we'll take you up on that. But yeah, I think it makes most sense to open up to the room now. If we need to use a mic, we can do. Any volunteers to go first? Not all at once. Alright, I'll carry on then. Okay, cool. We'll go. Do we need some mic?
Yeah, go. Hey Seth.
Hi. I can't see you, but I'll pretend I can.
We're both voices in the sky. My biggest thing when I was reading it was obviously there's lots of improvements for myself, but it was also the idea that there's lots of other people out there that don't really think like you think. So like instinctively they can read the book, but actually putting it into practice is like quite hard for them. So they want to go for like the short-term marketing solution. So how do you transform someone from someone who thinks like short-termism into someone that thinks like Seth Godin, basically?
Right. Yeah. No, this is a persistent problem. You have enough time to make something. You have enough time to raise the money. You have enough time to show up. You have enough time to check Facebook. You have enough time to take out your cell phone and check Insta. But you don't have enough time to learn how to do marketing right. And this is especially true for people who are busy running for political office. It's unbelievable how much time they will waste on shortcuts instead of taking a deep breath and choosing to go down a better path. And I don't have a shortcut answer for this, other than the people who don't do the reading are getting left behind over and over again. You don't want a surgeon who doesn't do the reading. You don't even want a shoeshine man who doesn't do the reading. You want to work with people who do the reading. And I'm not prepared to pander to people who don't. We tried that with an Instagram account a couple of years ago. I got to 60,000 subscribers, but I wasn't able to change anyone because they didn't have enrollment. Can't teach people who have blindfolds on, wearing earmuffs, who are running down the street. And so the best we can offer is people like us do things like this. If you want to be serious, do what the serious people are doing, which is pay attention and do the reading. That's all I got.
We didn't pay him for that answer either. Do the reading. Anyone else?
We're going to call on people. There's that woman with the nice scarf and the white blouse in the front. She has.
She was ready to go last and get end on a real high note. We'll throw her in the deep right now.
Hey, Seth.
Hi.
Okay, so my question is around if you have, like a bunch of great ideas, and considering you live in London, and finding the right community is sort of a big thing, but where to start is really hard. And you don't want to lower your standards just, because you're looking for a particular kind of a group that caters to what you're interested in. And how do you find that specific group? Because, one person, no matter how much you try, you're competing with people with millions of money.
Exactly. Ding, 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 ding. This is the magical question. Because it's really the only hard part. How do you find the smallest viable audience where you can serve them in a way you want to serve them, where they are eager to pay you money to solve a problem that they believe they have, so that you can create a product or service that after they engage with it, they want to tell other people. If you can do those three things, everything else will take care of itself. All of it. So, I'm not going to minimize how important this is or how difficult it is. Do you guys have Tom's shoes over in the UK? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So what did Blake do? Blake said, there are a group of people, it turns out they're women, doesn't have to be, but in this case there are, who are happy to pay $80 for a pair of espadrilles. And they have a shoe problem. They wake up every morning with a shoe problem. And their shoe problem is they don't have enough interesting things to say about their shoes. It's not that they don't have shoes, it's they don't have a story about their shoes. So, this group of people has the money, wants to spend the money, has the problem. And Blake comes to them and says, here, this pair of shoes, you can talk about them. You will have something to say about these shoes. And a small group of women, it's only 2,000, bought the shoes. And the shoes, unlike any other shoe made at the high end at the time, had a name on the back. And people would say, cool shoes. And you would say, really? Well, every time you buy a pair of these shoes, some poor kid gets a pair of shoes too. And you gave that person a story that raised their status. Because they got to say, I'm not just vain, I'm a philanthropist here. I'm wearing philanthropy shoes. And you want to hear about my philanthropy shoes? And so people are constantly talking about their philanthropy shoes, and the word spreads. From 2,000 people, it's all he needed. So the genius of Tom's shoes, which has sold more than $100 million worth of shoes, is really simple. Find the first 2,000 people. See them, understand them, earn their attention. Pay back that attention in a way that earns trust. Give them a story they can tell the others. Now, let's compare that to somebody who is a really good massage therapist. Let's say you've sweated and worked hard and learned everything and done the reading and you're great at it. And you think you deserve to make a good income as a massage therapist. You don't. And the reason you don't is that no one talks about getting a massage. It's really hard to talk. It's hard to walk up to someone and go, do I look relaxed? Do I look centered? Well, let me tell you why. Because I just got this great massage. It's weird. People don't say that stuff. And so, if you want to grow your presence as a massage therapist, you're going to have to do something beyond giving a really good massage. So if those are the two poles, what I would say back to you without knowing what you do, and I hope you're not a massage therapist, you could do lots of things. You know how to do lots of things. You have passions and skills. Pick one that's closer to Tom's, not closer to giving a massage. It's up to you. That's what strategy involves.
Cool. Thank you. Pass the mic back a couple of rows there. Cheers.
Apologies, it's less about marketing and more about you as an author. How has your process changed since the first book you brought out to the very last one? Have you noticed any differences in your storytelling style? And also, does being an author and telling a story help you marketing? Or the other way around?
Okay, so it was sometimes it's hard to make it out because I don't speak English properly. You guys do. You were asking, has my style of talking and writing changed over the last 30 years?
Yeah, the process of writing the books and actually getting your story out.
Yeah, I think that the biggest change is I have significantly more confidence. Because at the beginning, I was an outsider who was seen as crazy. And I'm still often seen as crazy, but there are enough insiders near me that I think those people who don't get me might be wrong. And it turns out that confidence is a self-fulfilling prophecy, that if you can write and speak with confidence, it's more likely that people will believe you. And so my hard work now is in scaring myself, because it's tempting to write things that don't frighten me, because it's safer that way. but then I wouldn't be doing my job right. So if you catch me sticking with the status quo, you should point it out.
Cool. Amazing. Whilst the mic comes down, we've actually, Seth, to give you a little bit more context, we've been going in London for about 3 years, but we've just launched some kind of micro communities in other parts of the UK. So we have, within our closed Facebook group tonight, we're live streaming this conversation now by Herschel behind us. So we've got a crew in Oxford and a crew in Bristol locked in as well.
Wow. As George Carlin would say, supply lines are getting thin.
We'll take that. But yeah, we had a quick question from Oxford, which was around, in terms of the philosophy in this book, does it differ much when marketing a product or a brand versus an individual?
No.
Good answer.
But I do want to contribute something here that's not in the book that I think is super important. So a quick show of hands. I can't see the people in Oxford, nor can I see the people who are just outside the room where the people in Oxford are, or the people who are outside that room. We're just going to use this room. How many of you think of yourselves as entrepreneurs? How many of you think of yourself as freelancers? Interesting. Okay, this is the first time I've ever seen the freelance vote exceed the entrepreneur vote. So let me distinguish between the two. An entrepreneur makes money when she sleeps. She builds something bigger than herself, usually using other people's money, and can sell it at any time. And the most important thing is that the entrepreneur doesn't work in the business. If you are doing the work of the business, you are failing. You need to hire someone to do the work of the business, because your job is not to do the work of the business. It's to run the business, make it bigger so you can sell it. Freelancers, I am a freelancer, do the work. If it's got my name on it, I wrote it. And we get paid when we work, and we don't get paid when we don't work. So if you're an entrepreneur who's acting like a freelancer, or a freelancer who's acting like an entrepreneur, you are stressed out of your mind. Because every time you get behind the 8 ball, you hire the best possible person who also works the cheapest, and that's you. So you're constantly hiring yourself to do the work, which leaves you no time to build the enterprise. So our friend, the cocktail maker, whose name I already forgot, Rich? Yeah, Rich. Are you Rich? Are you a freelancer or an entrepreneur?
I'm an entrepreneur.
Then why are you mixing drinks?
Oh, sorry. Because it's a passion of mine, and I love the service side of it. I think what I'm aware of with Mix and Model, that it's a brand very much based around me, and I'm okay with that. That's all right. But one of the dilemmas I've been having is, how do I move that away from just me and to be an actual entity? And so I go, okay, well, I need then to define what I represent. And then
see, I don't think you're an entrepreneur. I think you're a freelancer, and I mean that with fullest respect. So when you hire somebody to be a lesser junior version of you, you have a challenge, which is when you send that person to a party instead of you, the client is disappointed. Because you've made it clear that you're the one and only, and now you're sending someone who isn't you. Now, for you to hire assistants to leverage your work as a freelancer is very smart, because assistants can make it so that you can be more you. But if you're really an entrepreneur, you should never mix a drink again. Because, so if you go to Shake Shack in the US, Danny Meyer will not make you a hamburger. Ever. Right? Not his job. His job is to hire hamburger makers. So my point is, if you're going to be a freelancer, for any of you, how do you move up? You can't move up by working more hours. You can only do one party at a time. You move up by getting better clients. It's the only way. Better clients challenge you to do better work. They pay more. They tell other people more. So what you got to do is create a platform where there's a waiting list for your work. So you can fire the bad clients and keep ratcheting yourself up to better and better clients. That's the only way, right? So the answer to your question about lowering your prices, you shouldn't lower your price. You should triple your price. Because there's only one famous bartender in all of Croydon or wherever you are, right? You. And so you have to figure out how to invest time and effort to become the famous bartender, because what the host wants is not better drinks, right? They could solve their alcoholic beverage problem for $12 with a bottle of vodka. What they need is the status that comes from having a famous bartender. And you can sell them that status at a bargain at triple what you're charging if you are seen as the one and only. And so if you amplify the volume of your show and make it ever more special, and if you are showing up in all other forms of media as the famous bartender, right, then suddenly everything changes for you. Because now there's a list of people, and you say, you're not a good enough client, I won't do your gig, I'll do this gig. And you can make demands on what the clients have to provide in order for the famous one and only Mitsumoto guy to come make drinks. And he brings 3 assistants with him. It's unbelievable and worth every penny. So there's my free advice for someone who's never had an alcoholic drink in his life.
Thank you, Seth. Thank you.
Strong. I'm not sure where the mic ended up, but any other questions from you guys? A couple down at the front here. I'd like to pass it down. Thank you.
Hi, Seth.
Hi.
So I really like what you said about, well, as quite a neurotic person, I really enjoy what you say about turning emotional problems into craft problems or business problems that we can actually tackle in our work. And I'm talking about what I've learned through doing the marketing seminar this year. So my question is, I'm not sure whether this is actually an emotional problem or a business or marketing problem that I have. And that is that I'm helping my sister to set up a zero waste plastic free shop in a very dilapidated, deprived seaside town, which is rapidly becoming gentrified.
I remember you. Sure. I remember the Seaside Town story. Yeah, go ahead.
So my feeling is like, this is quite a sad time in British culture with Brexit, and I feel that we've got a lot of divides. And my question is, people like us do things like this. It applies very much to which way you voted, and that people who voted a certain way are likely to care about the environment. They're likely to have the time and energy to read The Guardian, inform themselves about environmental issues, and shop in a plastic-free shop. So, is it my job, or is it something that I can do to sort of reach out and sort of try to heal this cultural divide that we have, and try to reach out to people who might see what we're doing as yet another hipster gentrification, force of gentrification, people who used to live in London type movement that's coming into their town to turn it into a sort of microcosm of London on in the south coast, and all of that kind of all of those issues, and contributing to the problem of gentrification for people who are living in this sort of place.
Right.
Or do I just need to get over it and recognise that what I'm doing is not for those sorts of people?
Well, so there's a conflict, I think, between 2 poles here. On one pole, we know that people like us do things like this is the definition of culture. So just 200 years ago, if you guys were barristers, you'd all have been wearing wigs. Maybe they still do, right? Why do they do that? They do that because it would be shameful to not do it. Because people like us wear clothes like this. And the reason there are no cannibals isn't because cannibalism is against the law. It's because cannibalism is shameful. People like us don't do things like that. So when you show up in a town, if you're saying to the day tourist or the week tourist with a lot of code words, we're people like you, we're plastic free, we're yuppie, whatever it is, they may very well come and do business with you because they see you're standing out in this sea of grayness as a beacon of the kind of person they seek to be. On the other hand, what does it do to the narrative of someone in the town who views outsiders as a bit of a challenge, gentrification as a threat, people who are well educated apparently trying to make them feel less educated, so the status thing is a real issue. So if you show up proudly saying, my status is higher than yours, and you are not welcome here, then it's really easy to imagine that they're not going to embrace what you want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, an example from my town. The public schools, we call them public schools here, the free school that everyone goes to. The public schools are very good. And there is one group in town that is in town because they're going to send their kids to a famous college and their books in their house and everything else. And there's another group that's in town because they're fifth generation and their grandparents worked in the quarry. And for them, the highlight of school is soccer or football, right? So Pepsi-Cola comes along, and they're trying to get, this was 10 years ago, trying to get kids hooked early on their brand. So they go to the town and they say, we're going to renovate the ball field. And as part of renovating the ball field, we're going to give you $100,000 for a new sign. And we want to put vending machines, exclusively our vending machines, in the ball field. Well, the intelligentsia are up in arms because they don't want sugar in their kids, and they don't even like the ball field. But the other community, the old timers, are thrilled because they are being seen, they are being understood. So Pepsi didn't have to bring in a narrative about Pepsi. Pepsi went where there was already a narrative about what it is to be part of this town. And so the mistake that Pepsi made was they forgot to see the other group, and the other group had enough power to veto the whole thing. But in your case, there are groups already existing in your little seaside town. And you have to figure out how to make those groups feel seen, not because you're going to bribe them with 50,000 pounds or whatever it is, but because there are causes they believe in, there are things that matter to them. And your shop could represent a chance to get those things. So what are those things? Right? Maybe it's that you hire lots of local kids who don't have a job otherwise. Maybe blah, 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 blah. And so that's the opportunity. You don't do it by running ads in the local paper. You do it through your actions that help people feel seen. Anyway, thank you for being part of TMS. We're starting TMS 6 on January 3rd. If any of you are interested, we would love to have you.
I recommend it.
Thank you.
Cool. Anyone else?
Hi, Seth, Luke here. I was just wondering how you would describe your view on perhaps the difference between brand and marketing as you see it in 2018, 2019.
So do you differentiate between brand and logo?
Yes.
Right? So a logo is worthless. A logo is just a signpost. It's your first name. It doesn't matter. Right? You should keep it forever, but it doesn't. People with good first names don't succeed more than people with bad first names. So it's not logo. So what is brand? Brand is the shortcut busy human beings have for what promise they expect will be. So what is a brand worth? Well, it depends. If Nike opened a hotel, you could guess what it would be like. And you might pay extra there to stay there. If Hyatt came out with a brand of sneakers, you have no idea what those sneakers would be like. Because Hyatt doesn't actually have a brand. All Hyatt has is a logo. Hyatt is the same as Marriott and Hilton and a budget Four Seasons. It's just a hotel. There's not going to be any bed bugs. It's fine. But you're not going to pay extra for Hyatt compared to another decent business hotel because it has a brand. And so the value of a brand is how much extra would you pay compared to the generic competitor? That's the value of a brand.
And how do you see that different from marketing? Do you think brand is part of marketing, or do you think marketing?
Yeah, well, marketing is a verb. Marketing is the thing I did to build my brand. It's products I chose to make, the supply chain I chose to build, the way I answer the phone, all of the promises I've been making and keeping, so that when you think about me, the shortcut is I expect blank. The reason I expect blank is because of all the marketing you've done since the first day you started. You're welcome. Oh, now you get a question. The scarf.
I was just building up suspense. I know you put a long list of books you wanted us to read at the end of your book, and I found it really interesting. At the Rebel Book Club, we're currently looking at topics for 2019 that we want to read about, and I was wondering if you had a list of topics you wanted to read about next year.
So I won't mention any of the ones that are on that list because I think all of the ones on that list would be really interesting for you to read. You know, there have been some science fiction books that I think might be really interesting for this group to read just because they will make you think a little differently. I think that Cory Doctorow's book, he has two books I would recommend, Eastern Standard Tribe and Maker, that I think will help you think really differently about where we're going. I think that William Gibson's book, Pattern Recognition, is priceless. I think of it all the time. And it happened in London. So that will get you all buying Buzz Richardson MA1 jackets for the next meeting. And then I always forget the title. Hold on 1 second. And I wasn't prepared for this. Before he got too long-winded, the last world-changing book that Neil Stephenson wrote was called The Diamond Age. And Diamond Age was written 15 or 20 years ago, but it could have been written today. And so there we go. In addition to the books on my list, that's what I'm doing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi. When you kind of the example that Nike gave, you know what a Nike hotel is going to be. I think really illustrates the power of branding. And do you think there's a kind of tendency to, on the part of brands in particular, to market themselves as, you know, more of a solution than they are? So, for example, you know, if you buy Nike, this is going to make you feel like X, it's going to make you feel like Y. Especially in kind of, perhaps today when we live in quite a materialist and brand-heavy kind of world. And do you think that's an issue in general, that, you know, brands market themselves as, you know, the solutions to problems, which they're not really the solutions to, or, you know, when there would be better solutions kind of that aren't just related to kind of buying something new or kind of, you know, trying to base your identity around a particular brand?
Okay, so if a brand makes a promise and breaks it often, they don't stick around very well. I think you might be conflating what Nike seems to be promising with what they are actually promising. So they seem to be promising that if you wear their stuff, you will sweat more, develop abs, and be able to run a marathon in 2 hours. Those seem to be the promises. But instead, I think what they are promising is, one, you will feel like you could get closer to that than you could without them. Two, that you are identifying intent. That by buying these items, you are sending yourself and others a signal that you're trying harder. And that effort is being used by you to replace the actual effort of doing sit-ups. Right? And so what they basically are saying is for 20 extra pounds, you can feel like you tried hard. You can exchange one for the other. And then the third thing they're promising is you will have a badge that you can wear that's positive to neutral. And that badge won't cause you any shame. And those three promises, they keep really well. So that's what I think their brand promises.
So I think that second point that you gave, that you can seem like you're trying harder without actually trying harder. That kind of hits the nail on the head, because is that a problem? That Nike are trying to make, for example,
I would say it's a cynical insight about human nature. That the vast majority of people in any field aren't going to try harder. That's how human nature works. But our knowledge-based economy has given resources to a whole bunch of people who can spend them on overpriced goods that go beyond what the functionality of them are. And so we are seeking to buy meaning in a bottle of red wine. And we are seeking to buy meaning in where we sit on the airplane. And that's the basis of our economy. And I think it's all very cynical. It would be much better if people just made good promises to themselves and kept them, and spend their extra resources helping the poor. I would be totally in favor of that. But I also know that in a free market, if it's not hurting anybody, if someone wants to spend money on a story they can tell themselves, that's what makes it work.
So should we all be devoting our branding energies to making people less cynical in that regard, instead of trying to just perpetuate the phenomenon of cynical marketing?
Well, I think you should own what you do. And I think you should not do something where you can point and blame the system. And I think we need laws to make sure that people aren't, selling toothpaste that's going to make you sick. Because marketers cannot be trusted. Marketers are short-term, selfish narcissists who will seek to turn a profit in every corner. But people like us, what we do, I think we seek to change the culture, and we seek to make things better. And if we can make things better by creating branded tribal identities that cause us to be more engaged and more open and aspire to be better, I think that's a fine way to spend your day.
Cool. Jump over to the back. Thanks.
Hi. So I feel like when companies need to make money, they figure out how to be good at marketing one way or the other. How can we be better at marketing things like fighting climate change?
I'm sorry, like what?
Like fighting climate change, or mitigating global warming.
Right.
Because the usual tactics are to show a starving child.
Right.
And make you feel guilty to donate, and most people turn away because it's uncomfortable.
Yep.
So how do we use marketing techniques to inspire people to take good action?
Exactly. Yes. Thank you for this question. That's what my book is about. So, for example, it's not global warming. It's atmosphere cancer. Because atmosphere is scientific and cancer is real. There are no cancer deniers. Nobody sits around saying, I'll deal with cancer tomorrow. Atmosphere cancer has a marketing problem. And the marketing problem begins with some people call it global warming. And it continues to some politicians staked out a position affiliated with that, which makes it easy for other politicians to deny it matters. That when we think about how you raise money to solve river blindness, it turns out showing pictures of spindly, sick kids from far away is a good shortcut, but it doesn't work in the long run. But that's not why Bill Gates is trying to make it go away. Bill Gates is trying to make it go away because he understands that if he can obliterate a disease like that, his status will go up. Right? He's a good guy too, but that's not all of it. It's we really care about our status and where we stand in the community. And so if we look at, the Robin Hood Foundation in New York City raised $101 million in one night last year. One night. Because they used status roles among a certain group of people by creating the right sort of game theories. And as a marketer, that's really smart. So the point of what I'm trying to teach in the book is you should make something great. You should, cure a disease or sell a product that dramatically improves people's lives. And then you should take a deep breath and use marketing with intent. Intentionally causing change to happen, which means bringing tension along, which means seeing status quo, which means understanding affiliation versus dominance, doing it the right way. Because if we don't, it's the bad guys who are going to do it. That brought me right down.
Over to the left wing.
Hi, Seth. So my question sort of follows on from that. I'm interested in whether or not, you talk a lot about sort of doubling down on the audience that you know and the people like us and really focusing in on them. But I'm wondering whether there's ever a marketing moment in which you should take on the establishment. So to give it some context, I work in impact investing, which is about investing in socially valuable outcomes. And I've actually gone away and designed something with charities that actually works for them. There's nothing like it in the sector. But the problem is that the establishment in this sector will tell you that it's possible to invest and to make a market level of return. And that's just palpably wrong. But we're getting an awful lot of pushback. So I've sort of posited the idea in my company that we should put out an advert that just says, this is why we're wrong, or why they're wrong, and why we're right. And I wonder whether, A, that ever works, or B, there is a moment in your marketing journey when you're big enough to do that, or whether you should just constantly do what you do well and just show you're good.
Well, first, thank you for the work you're doing. Second, you are correct about the myth around impact investing. I've been having this argument with people for 15 years. But no, you should not run that ad. You should take the money and light it on fire instead. Here's the thing. You don't get to change the culture. Your customers get to change the culture. That your work is to get the people who already agree with you to tell the others. That when that begins to happen, then the word spreads. But that has to come from them, not from you. You don't get to talk to the people who are ignoring you. The people who are ignoring you are ignoring you. So if we think about apartheid, right? That the fight against apartheid was not won by the core group of apartheid activists. It was won by the people they won over, who won over other people, until finally the people who were left who were on and said, no, we don't need to divest, just maximize our return. There were so few of them, they were surrounded. That's how it works every time. You have to surround them with the fellow travelers. You don't get to go straight at them.
Thank you.
Cool.
That's a cheap solution.
Other side. Thank you.
Hi, Seth. So when I read your book, I get incredibly excited by the prospects of products that are very tailored to a niche audience, that have amazing service, and the possibility that those products could be so in tune with who you want to become, as you put it, helping you become the person you want to be. And I get really excited by that. But then I kind of get less excited by the prospect of, Snickers doing that, or like every single fast-moving consumer good in the supermarket aisle, all aggressively vying for this sense of identity. And I wondered if you had any thoughts about that, or if you think it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Okay, well, a couple things. First of all, the chances that everyone is going to do anything I say are zero. When I wrote Linchpin, people said, but what about the cog job? Someone's got to do the cog job. I was like, yeah, someone does, but it doesn't have to be you. And guess what? It's 15 years later, and there's still plenty of people who want to do the cog job. So I'm not worried about that part. But I will tell you that what online commerce has demonstrated is there's only two places. There's the generic cheap stuff, I don't care who made it, and there's the specific stuff just for me. And the middle is now hollow. The middle is going away. Retail isn't dead, it's just boring retail that's dead, as Steve Dennis has said. And so Snickers are either going to be replaced by cheap Snickers, or they're going to become optimized for the person they seek to serve. But I don't think you have to worry about the generic middle. The generic middle can take care of itself in the short run, but in the long run, why would you buy something generic when you can have something specific?
Cool. Anyone else?
Hi Seth. So I'm a marketer, and what I've seen recently happening, I guess, in the industry, people actually, all of my colleagues, none of my colleagues want to do the typical like product advertising, where they just try to show a product down the consumer's throat. They actually want to do it kind of like these emotional stories, these beautiful campaigns that go videos that like make you shed tears and go viral and win Cannes lines, but nobody ever remembers like which brand did it.
Yep.
And for example, for me, it was like Run Like a Girl. I mean, who did it?
Right.
It was at United Nations, it was Adidas. It was actually always, nobody remembers. Like everybody knows the ad, nobody remembers who did it. So I don't know, what's your take on that?
They're measuring the wrong thing. Right? That if you are measuring clicks and you are measuring views, you have to do that. You have to race to the bottom, you have to race to be interesting, you have to race to be funny, but it doesn't lead to any brand promise or action. That the alternative, instead of trying to be seen by a lot of people, which gets you a high five at the agency, is to be seen by the right people and to create tension on purpose. The tension of I'm about to be left out, the tension of I'm going to be left behind, the tension of other people are doing the right thing and I'm not. And if you can't create that tension, then you're just entertaining people for free. And if that makes you happy, go ahead, but that's not marketing.
Thank you, I'm going to use it.
Cool, anyone else? Any on the live stream, Hashim?
No questions on the live stream, other than that complete list of books that Seth.
We will share the book recommendations between us. Another one from my side, Seth. I kind of know you're fairly famous for not taking meetings and protecting your time. And one thing I noticed, and maybe I send really nice emails, I don't know, but you're rapid at replying. You're like the fastest man on email. As soon as we agreed to do this, you sent a video within 5 minutes. There was like a Dropbox link. You know when someone makes your life super easy? Seth did that for us, and I was kind of surprised because he's such a busy man. So I was wondering how you build the systems around you or the team to kind of be so optimized, I guess. And what can you share that we can put into practice ourselves?
Well, I don't have a team. There's a few people who work on the Alt MBA and the marketing seminar, but I do this other work by myself. And I don't put things off till tomorrow, because I'll be just as busy tomorrow as I am now. And so I have to pay a penalty in context switching, and I also have a very bad habit of checking my email. I'm aware of that, so please don't send me email. But if I'm going to do this thing for you, and I did it because David said I should, then I should do it. And if I'm not going to do it, then I shouldn't do it. And the mistake so many of us make is we don't want to say no today, so we're mediocre tomorrow. And that's not interesting to me. So I say no all the time, but if I say yes, well then there's a video to be done. Why should I do it tomorrow? I'm going to do it right now. So I did. And I think the lesson to be learned is you're a professional. And as a professional, you are going to have only a certain number of hours to spend on your craft, and you get to decide what to spend them on. And so if you drop what you're doing to check what's going on in Scrabble, well then that's how you decided to go spend the next 10 minutes of your life. And if we can be intentional about who it's for and what it's for, what's the change we seek to make, and have the guts to get rid of our bad clients, the guts to not go to meetings, the guts to say no, now we're on the hook because we better do something worthwhile because we just saved all that time. And I like that feeling of being on the hook.
Cool. Thank you for saying yes to us on this occasion. Actually, she was also running a live stream, so thank you for multitasking.
Beth asking, when you need ideas, what do you do to strengthen your creativity and I suppose increase your connections?
Right. Okay. I can't recall the last time I met somebody who didn't have any bad ideas. If you really have no bad ideas, you might be in a coma. So all you need to do if you want good ideas is be willing to have more bad ideas. If you can fill a notebook with bad ideas, sooner or later a good one is going to slip through. You can't help it. And so the act of being creative is to stop saying, I'm afraid so I can't be creative, and instead say, I'm busy being creative so I can't be afraid. And if you can come up with a list of as many bad ideas as you can imagine, your mastermind group, your book club friends, if you show them that list and say, which is the least bad idea on this whole page, you might discover something that's worth spending more cycles on. So the practice is not saying, I need to find something great or original, and the practice is not saying I need to wait until I'm not afraid. The practice is acknowledging that you are afraid, and then coming up with the worst ideas you can think of, over and over and over again. And the easiest way I know to get it in that habit, is to have a blog. And I think you should blog every day. I think everyone should.
There you go.
I've got another question from the stream. And that's from Leander. She's asking, how much tension is too much? And is this when empathy for your audience comes into play? So building the right kind of tension, I'm assuming, is what she's asking.
Right. So let me differentiate between tension and manipulation. Manipulation is what happens if after the fact, the person who engaged with you is sorry that they did. That's why people hate used car salesmen. That's why people hate politicians, because they manipulate us. And manipulation is not on my agenda, and I'm encouraging you to walk away from manipulation. But if you need somebody to take their tuberculosis medicine, if you need somebody to stand down from a bar fight, if you need somebody to actually do the work they said they were going to do, then bringing tension to the table is generous, because he's going to get them to where they said they wanted to go all along. And there's lots of forms of that tension. It's not the tension of a parent yelling at a teenager. It's not the tension of someone threatening somebody else with a stick. It is the tension of the individual realizing that their fear is actually less than that thing they said they wanted. And if you can make that happen, increasing what they want so it's greater than the thing that they are afraid of, they will feel tension and then they will move forward. If you don't do that, they won't feel any tension, they'll just sit with their fear. Because it's easier to sit with their fear than to look at it. So what we do as marketers is establish, there was that buzzing in your pocket. Someone's talking about you behind your back. You better look at the phone. That's tension, right? Because the guys have decided that you need to look at it. Well, what the world has told Facebook is that's not tension, that's manipulation. That you've one too many times made me feel bad about what people are saying about me behind my back. Stop doing it. On the other hand, if you've ever waited in line for concert tickets, the reason you waited in line is because you were afraid they were going to sell out. And that created tension. And that's what got you to wait in line. Because guess what? If they hadn't been close to selling out, you wouldn't have gone to the concert in the first place. Because you would have forgotten. So that's my rant. Thank you for letting me rant to you for an hour. And the most important thing I can tell you from my point of view is that I hope you will teach somebody these ideas. I don't care if they buy my book or not. I really don't. But I do care about these ideas, and I hope that I've given you some ammunition to spread them, to make things better by making better things. So thank you.
Awesome. I think, yeah, on behalf of all of us,
thank you. Appreciate it. I got to run. Thanks, guys.
cheers, Seth. Cool. That was pretty cool, right? Come on, Alex. That was like the most intense business coaching ever for Rich. He was just still on his meeting. Seth, give me answers.
I feel like a prophet. I feel like I was like, teach me.
No, that was super cool. I'm just going to end this because we've been trying to record this for the people that aren't here.
Do you want to the end of the Facebook Live as well?
I think so.